This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the Gulf of Mexico as their backdrop, broadcasting live from the Margaritaville Resort on Fort Myers Beach, here are the hosts of the dinkiest podcast in America, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for being here, Tom, because if it wasn't for you, there'd be no applause at all. And we appreciate you guys coming to La Di Da. We're going to be at La Di Da for the next few weeks because of the heat up on the terrace. It's pretty hot up there, but there's always a place to go inside here at Margaritaville. And we appreciate everybody here at Margaritaville being so accommodating to us. And we have a great show lined up for the next hour. We have two of the four candidates that are running for the Fort Myers Beach Town Council joining us. And what we're planning on doing and hoping that we can pull this off in the next several months is to do a forum on the south end, in Mid-Island, and on the north end, somewhere on Bay Beach, somewhere like at the church tent at Beach Baptist, and then maybe at the Pink Shell when we get closer to the election. But we appreciate both Scott and Greg coming on. And I just want to, there's not going to be, this isn't like I'm going to turn off your microphone or put a timer on there or anything like that, because we want it to be kind of like more of a conversation. But I do want everybody to know that in full disclosure, all four of the candidates are friends of ours, Scott and Greg and what's the mayor's name, whatever his name is, and the vice mayor's name. They're all friends with us. And so just so you all know, we don't take any advertising from the candidates. We don't take any coffee money from the candidates. We don't go to the meet and greets. We just want we want it to be fair. We want it to everybody to know. What's that? And so, yeah, we're here to inform, and whoever wins. And all our goal is to get the information out there. So the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to ask a question of a specific person, and then, the same question to the other person. And then I'll switch back and forth. Whoever I ask the question to, we'll just do it that way, except for the first two questions, because they're kind of unique to the candidate. So, Scott, the first question I'm going to ask you is, when you first decided to run, not really run, but put your name in the hat for the position that Mr. Veach left, you did say that you weren't going to run for the seat. You wanted to spend more time with your grandkids. So kind of explain to the folks that are watching or the folks that are here why you changed your mind or why you did decide to run.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this, Greg. Thanks for being here. Ed, love your show. To answer your question, the main reason I didn't want to run is spend more time with my grandkids, but my family encouraged me to continue what we're doing. It's going to take years to get this island back, and I've got the time, I've got the bandwidth. I was worried about my company, but I've got great staff, and I've got full support of my family and friends. So I want to keep doing what we're doing.
So when you told your grandkids, were they totally in tears, crying that you're not going to spend more time with them, or were they okay with it?
Well, they're pretty mad about not going to Disney World this year, but
I hear you.
Times are tough.
So, Greg, other than your 1 year, I think about 1 year-ish on the library board, you don't really have any political experience.
I'm not a politician.
I haven't seen you Okay, Robin, I'm gonna have to rein you in today. I haven't seen you at many town council meetings or public speaking. So why did you decide that you wanted to run?
I moved here to Fort Myers Beach about 6 years ago, and I moved here for quality versus quantity, right? So I moved into a much smaller place, a beach cottage. I lived in Naples, and I decided to come here for the quality of life for me and my family. When I see what's being proposed on the island, I'm concerned for the future of the island and the future of what that means for my families on the island, my friends, my neighbors trying to get back in their house. And there's no time, maybe back in the 1999 we incorporated, but there's no time in the future that's going to be more important.
95, you mean?
95, great. Appreciate that. But there's no other time that's more important than now. This is if you want your voice heard, or you want to have a say in what this island's going to be, the island I'm going to leave to my son. This is the time to do it. So this is if you want to be involved. I try to be involved as much as I can, but if you really want to have a say, now it's time to put your money where your mouth is and get involved. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so there's a narrative out there on the streets of Fort Myers Beach, the down and dirty streets of Fort Myers Beach, that Greg, you're kind of anti-development, and Scott, you're pro-development. So I want you guys to clarify your positions. Greg, starting with you, because we'll rotate back and forth on the questions. Clarify your position on development, on big development.
I'm not for big development. I'm for common sense development. I'm for families. I'm a family guy. I'm here to assure that families can still come and live on the island if we allow our island to be overdeveloped. And with the proposals coming down the line, we will be overdeveloped. No one's going to want to live here. No one's going to want to bring their families and come here and actually make this place a home. And this community, everybody will tell you, this community is like none other. And I am not going to go down without a fight, losing that community. It's worth fighting for. So when it comes to that overdevelopment, giving away, we need to have common sense redevelopment and take our time and realize what we're doing and what that means to the future of the island. So that's right. Again, I'm on my card, you'll see I'm not for large overdevelopment. I'm for common sense redevelopment of the island.
I couldn't agree more. I'm for common sense development, but I want it done now. I'm almost 60 years old, and I don't think we're moving fast enough. I just don't. Now, I think there's 10% of the people out there that would build anything anywhere, and I think there's another 10% of the people out there that don't want to build anything. And I think the rest of us are that 80% where we rebuild together. We come up, just what Myerside went through. They went through a process. We've seen other proposed developments that everybody's like, no way.
Yeah,
it's a process. So
I don't want to cut you off, and I don't want to interrupt. But when you answer something, I'm going off my list. I'm going off my list here a little bit because you said it's not fast enough. When you look at the property,
we don't have a liquor store on the island. 2 years later,
well. Is that the first store you wanted to pick? Was the liquor store?
I don't know how everybody's saying we're moving so fast. Well, I don't think we're moving fast enough.
Well, let me just interject here something. The property appraiser just said you guys are 50% higher in what the property values are compared to last year. Sanibel is at 1%. Up and down every street, the residents are rebuilding their houses. How can you go any faster? How can you go faster? What is your answer
to? I think over the last year and a half, I think we've helped people get back in their homes. I mean, we've sped up the process with the LPA. If you come in for a variance, it's 100%. You don't need to go to town council. We worked out the parallelogram lots. We worked out the cottage lots. We've got the developmental agreements in place now. I think we're moving in that direction. But man, time is of the essence.
Why? Why is time of the essence? I mean,
right now, we're living in the now. I don't see. I agree with Greg that we don't want huge development or overdevelopment, but I don't see in what time frame do you think we're going to be overdeveloped?
But my problem with going fast is that we the devil's in the details, right? So, and we can just talk about Myerside. What happened? Myerside went fast. Myerside, we gave.
It took 18 months. Greg.
That's fast. I mean, how long did Margaritaville take? And again, I don't want to make comparisons.
They should have what Tom and Mary went through. They should not have gone through that. We don't want that to happen.
Okay, I don't disagree, but we have to be careful about what we're allowing and what we set precedent on. I understand you guys will say like we didn't set precedents, but the planners in there said, hey, Margaritaville got this, so Myerside should get this. Every developer is going to use that, and if we go fast. There's a thing that's put into Army snipers and martial artists that's called slow is smooth and smooth is fast. If you take your time and we understand what the parameters are that we're going to allow, then we can go fast. But we don't do that. We're taking this piecemeal approach and we're allowing things. Again, when Myerside went through, we allowed a lot of increased density, increased intensity. Height is not such a big deal. It's the small increase in height. But we had very little public benefit to show for that. And what people need to realize is when the town council gives those things away, and I'm not saying give away, but allows those things to happen, we take those things from voters. And voters and people on the island and the families and my neighbors should have a proportional benefit to the things that we give away like that. And if you go fast, we're not going to have that. If we don't take our time and do things deliberately and not just develop for the sake of development, no one will live here. No one will actually live here.
Let's talk about Myerside. I think they went through the right process. They went to the town with a plan. They had a public hearing. Everybody came. Everybody loved it. The town staff, who I have incredible faith in, recommended approval. Then it went to the LPA. Those are 7 citizens, and I was on the LPA for a number of years. I respect every single person on that LPA, and it was unanimous.
They got it wrong.
Okay,
they got it wrong. I mean, that's my opinion.
We can agree to disagree, but I think they went through the right process.
The process is not my problem. My problem is we're not vetting them. We're not going to. If that's going to be the plan of what we did, I mean, town staff.
Greg, what do you mean? What do you mean you're not vetting them? That plan was out in the public for quite a while.
I misspoke.
What?
But
it didn't change. It did not change. It did. What? How did it change? All right.
I will stand by that decision. I don't think we should be in the parking game, ma'am. I just don't think government should be in control of parking. What did we give away?
No, they didn't give them away.
We didn't give them away.
Jim Adderhole tried to make a deal on the parking, but it was kind of like a side deal. They were trying to make a side bet. It never came down to that. They have less parking because they don't really have that agreement. They have to make the business work.
So let me just ask you this: were you okay with the cottage getting an 87% reduction in parking? Okay.
All right, well, you said parking was part of the problem. All right. No, well, nobody can hear what you're saying, so but
it's okay.
But
no,
if you want to ask a question, I'll let you.
This is good that we're having a
discussion
like this. I've gotten plenty of emails from concerned citizens asking me what the public benefit was. And the public benefit to me, now it's subjective, right? The public benefit to me was those 4 housing units. That's incredible. That's going to increase the enrollment at our beach school.
Wait a second, Scott. You know those 4 housing units are going to be used for employees of the Myerside.
You never know. I trust Bevan Rollins.
So do I. But I mean, if I owned that business, I want my employees working there because then they don't have to fight your traffic.
Well, they're called live work.
They might have kids.
It could be they might have kids. It could be a teacher. I mean, it could be a town employee.
Well, I don't want to get stuck on the Myerside development. It's going through, and it is what it is. So
we're having discussion.
Go right ahead, then. I'll shut my own microphone off. Kim's not here to do it, but I'll shut it off.
I think they went through the right process.
But I said this in my video that my concern is the direction and the tone the council has set by allowing that to go through with no pushback and really no public benefit. 4 live work housings where their employees are going to work is not a benefit to the families on this island. It's a benefit to them. Same thing with people who want a restaurant, who think a restaurant is a public benefit. That's a benefit to the developer who is going to run that restaurant. Do we want restaurants on the island? Sure we do. But do we need to give away 30-40% more density to be able to get those things, or do we need to give away 30 or 40% more density? Because that's what affects residents. That's what affects the families on the island. It's the increased traffic. Who bears the burden of the increased density that council allows for those type of projects?
So let's talk about
the families on the island.
Let's talk about density for a second. We're 2 years down the road. Yeah, we gave Myerside. Pick a number, 20, 25 more
30
units.
plus.
30, okay, 30. All right, the Beacon over here, never coming back, lost 14. Now we're at net 15. The Seagate, their proposal, I haven't seen it yet.
Don't jump ahead on me. Don't jump ahead on me. We're focused on Myerside.
It's less
Don't
less
jump
density.
ahead on me.
The island, Estero Island condos, same density. I just don't see all this density. But based on 2 years and what I've seen come before us, now London Bay is a different story. We're adding some density there.
All right,
So-
you guys are drifting off into
No,
different
but what-
areas. So
but
let me.
I just
let me
want to
get
say one thing that,
one
that the
last
difference-
last word on the Meyer
Okay,
side.
I'm not gonna talk
word.
about Meyer side. I'm
All
just
right,
gonna
then
talk
let me
about-
ask the question. Let me ask the question. So
I don't feel like I'm getting fair time. Ed.
somebody's smoking something wicked funky back here. I
Yeah,
mean, can
there's-
you? Holy smokes!
Sorry
I'm getting,
if we're loopy.
I'm getting a contact high right here.
contact
Holy
high over
smokes.
here.
All right, so who did I ask that Who did I ask that question of a half an hour ago? I don't even remember. But all right, so Greg, what is your position on the Red Coconut? The Seagate proposal at Red Coconut is underneath the density, but the building is high. They got 3 parks. They got a private beach club with a private walkover. How would you have voted on that? Yes or no? As it's proposed right now.
But I have only seen the one set of drawings, right? So I'm just a
Okay.
citizen.
Don't,
I've only
answer, don't
seen.
answer it like
But
Dan
I'm not
answers it.
done. I'm not. You don't interrupt. I'm not done.
All right,
but
go ahead.
Again, I don't understand why they come out of the gate with asking for. They're asking for a lot. 2 buildings, 17 stories. Every one of those units that are above what they're allowed, 3 above flood, is worth a lot of money to them. They're gonna the Ocean View sells.
Well,
right?
wait a second. Why should what it's
But I
what
understand,
is
but-
value to them? What does that matter?
But I'm getting at why they want to build high. Again, they're staying under density, but there are family homes back behind
but, Greg,
Denora.
but if you're on the town council, you're really voting on density. You're not voting on the.
No, you're voting on height too. We have height
true.
restrictions
right?
in.
But you're not voting
our-
on how much money they make per unit.
Understood. But what I'm getting at is allowing that more help. Take the value out of it. Allowing 2 17-story buildings. I do not see how that benefits my neighbors, my friends, the families on the island. I don't see how it benefits them. There are families that live, my friends of mine who live back on Denora and back in there. It's going to affect their quality of life. So again, as it's proposed, I'm not in favor of it.
So you would vote no on the Red
I'm
Coconut.
not in favor
So
as I see it today.
I'll get to you. What would you rather see? They have density to that, not to that height, but they have the density. They're under 150 units. Would you rather see 3-story buildings all over the place?
I would like to see a proposal for that. I have not seen that.
Okay, Scott.
Well, I'm going to be voting on it, but just conceptually, Fran Myers is all for it, and that woman is one of the matriarchs of the island.
Yeah, but she doesn't have a vote.
I know she doesn't have a vote, but the one thing I don't like about it, I don't like Adderholt Skybridge. I think it pushes the buildings too close to Estero. I'd rather not see the Skybridge there, but there's a lot of public benefit there. There's the parks, there's the bike trail. I mean, I think Matt's doing everything right.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say whether I'm going to vote yes or no for it, but conceptually, I think it's a win for the islands. There's less density. Greg, to your point, I live next to Ocean Harbor. I look at that building every day. It's not bothering me. It's
that's
15
you.
stories.
That's you.
Yeah, sure.
But standing next to a 17 or 2 17-story buildings, or standing next to a building like this, is very, very different. It feels very, very different. The people that live there, it's very, very different.
I think
So-
what should happen then, if the people that have an issue with it, they should be part of the process. And when we have an LPA meeting, when we have town council meetings, man, email me, get involved.
But that's why we have representative government, right? They should contact us or you guys and let them know.
Absolutely.
But that hasn't been proposed yet. So he's asking a question about something that hasn't been proposed that they.
Wait, of course, it's been proposed. Come on.
But
You're
it
talking
hasn't
like
gone
a
in front of the
politician.
LPA.
I mean, everybody has seen the picture of what he's proposed. He came on the show and made an hour presentation of it. He's not changing it until it goes before the council. So I'm only asking you guys if you had a chance to vote on it, would you vote yes or no on Red Coconut right now?
I can't answer that question.
You can answer the question, but I understand that
So-
you don't
so
want
far-
to.
I can't, because it's still, like Greg said, it's still. I haven't seen the town staff's recommendation. I mean, they just put it in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold a lot of water in what the town staff says, and I'm gonna hold a lot of water
just
in
so
what
everybody,
the LPA
so
says.
just what everybody watching understands, Seagate has made a proposal. Everybody has seen the picture of how big the building's going to be. Everybody has seen the parks. Everybody has seen the walkover. It's a private walkover. Everybody has seen the private beach club on the beach side, the public restaurant on the bay side. And if they don't want to tell you how they're going to vote on it, then you just take it for what it's worth. I mean, I don't see why you guys can't tell everybody how you feel about it.
I just said I would not support
All
it
right.
as it has.
Last word on the
said.
Red Coconut. How do you want to leave it? You're going to wait.
So far, I like it.
Okay, that's fair enough. So
And this
No, I can't let you sit there.
All right.
Nobody can hear what you're saying about this proposal. This is your only question of the day. All right? Kidding. I'm kidding.
Ask away. I mean, that's what we're here for. Ask away.
No, my question is, can you ask them to modify? The reason it's so darn tall is because they're over 3,000 square feet. So we keep talking about density. Okay, they're under density in the number of units, but they'll hold 6 people each. Think about that, how many people they'll hold.
Sure, there's going to be some intensity, absolutely. But I don't know what their FAR numbers are. I'm sure they're within reason, and town staff's going to let us know. But any NFL team building stadiums building a bigger, better stadium, right?
But they could come down a
any.
little. They wouldn't be down to the 3 feet. They'd still look good. I'm just asking if that
Sure.
changed.
I like this discussion. I mean, again, I want to rebuild this island together, not let those guys run over us. I think we need to rebuild together. So, yeah, any input, especially the people that live close to there, I'd love their input. So we're putting Seagate to bed?
Are we? Okay, good. So I want to flip back, get off the development for a second, and let's talk about the proposal that you guys are going to talk about in August about putting toll bridges on the 2 bridges leading up to Fort Myers Beach, one on the south end, one on the north end. In which case, if that happens, Lee County will get probably 70% of the revenue. Scott, let's start with you.
So first off, we're not going to decide that we're going to have a toll bridge. I mean, Karen brought it up for discussion. I think we should have an adult discussion about it. But right now, I don't see anybody giving me data. How much money will it cost us to run it? How much revenue will we make? How will it affect the businesses? How will it affect the island residents? I think it's literally a tax on us. And right now, in the future, let's talk about it. But right now, all our goods and services are off the island. You're just taxing me to go get my haircut once a year and go to the liquor store.
I would not.
Can you turn it up? If you look in the back there. Go ahead, Greg. Go ahead.
So I would not support a toll bridge. I lived in Cape Coral for several years. I dealt with toll bridges going on and off from Cape Coral.
Yeah.
And the cost, to living there is not that big a deal, but the inconvenience of it. I mean, try to get onto Cape Coral rush hour.
And I don't know
it's unnecessary.
I don't know what they're going to charge. I just don't have enough data to make it.
What problem are we trying to solve with a toll bridge?
Yeah,
what's the problem that we're trying to solve?
What is the problem they're trying to solve? I think
that's a legitimate question to me. Is what are we trying to solve?
I'll answer that. So one of the questions was of people cutting through.
Never happens.
But legally in the state of Florida, you cannot pass a law. In Texas, you can, but in Florida, you can't. So
I don't know. If there's people cutting through from Bonita to get over to the other side, they're not very smart, especially during season. I mean, who would do that? Why would you do that? Unless maybe you lived in so close to Lover's Key or something and you thought you could get through now. I mean, but the other thing is you're all going to want the residents to get a break. You're all going to want the employees to get a break. So really, you're putting a tax on the people that already want to be here.
I mean, like I said, we need data. I mean, how's it going to affect businesses? I mean, you're taxing the poor kids that work here. They're $5 in the hole before they even get to work.
Do you have a question, Mr. Coleman? Nobody can hear you unless you come up here. If you're going to ask a real question, everybody on the Facebook has to hear what you're saying. We have a big audience watching.
Quick comment on the bridge.
Is it a comment or a question, man?
Comment. I personally feel that a toll on the bridge is ridiculous. I do not live on the island, but for those who live here, should not pay a toll to come home. And for those of us who come to visit, should not pay a toll to come to visit when we come and we spend money at the local restaurants and businesses and pay all of our tax dollars there. All you're going to do is slow down and make the traffic ridiculous.
All right. I can't disagree with the gentleman.
Yeah, can we put that?
It's a non-starter for me.
Please put that to rest when the meeting. You're going to do it at an M&P in August, and I mean the county is all for it, of course, because the county's going to get 70%. That's what one of the county reps told me. Yeah, of course. And you know what?
Again, I want to see the data. I want to see the numbers. I mean, there's
what data? There's no data. What data are you looking for?
how much? What are they going to? What's the proposed toll?
Yeah.
Is it $6, $5, $3?
And the other
$2?
thing for
I
the
don't know.
residents of Fort Myers Beach, if you think that the county is going to pay to install whatever the technology is, you're wrong. It's going to be the town of Fort Myers Beach
Yeah,
that
no kidding.
pays it.
And
So-
again, like I said, how much is it going to cost us, and how much is it going to cost us to monitor?
By the
it?
way, I'm going to be totally wasted
I'm getting
if
high.
by the time this show is over, and it's not going to be from the beer. It's going to come from whatever's wafting through this place right now from the beach. Wow.
Cheech and Chong back there.
All right, so let's get back to the development. There was something else completely. I didn't write it down. Let's talk about the Outrigger London Bay proposal, which is 17 stories in the air on the beach side. And Greg, we'll start with you. Is that a yes or a no
That's
for
a
you?
no. It's a no for me. Sorry. Yeah, it's very large. Again, and people are going to talk about we're getting the Outrigger back, and I'm just not willing to put up with egregious height, egregious density. Maybe they don't have egregious density, but I'm just not willing to sacrifice that for the families on the beach. I'm not. It's not worth it to me. I think that they can go back to the drawing board and we can discuss, what would be more appropriate, what's more in line with our land development code and comp plan. Once this, again, I'm telling you that once this place, if we build and we build fast like Scott wants to, and again, I understand where he's coming from, but that does not benefit the families and the residents on the island. It doesn't benefit my friends and neighbors. What does allowing London Bay to build 17 stories, they get the Outrigger back? I love the Outrigger too. I miss it, but it's not worth it to me. It's not worth allowing that kind of development. You can look, when we incorporated in 1995, we did it because of Diamond Head, which is 12 stories above parking and 124 rooms.
Yeah.
We took on a huge responsibility as an island to do that. And now every proposal we have wants to be way bigger than what Diamond Head is.
I wish people would stop saying we incorporated because of Diamond Head, because they're such a good part of the community. We got to come up with another saying.
I get it, but the truth is the truth, and I'm a truthful guy. That's it. I don't know how to lie. This doesn't come out of me.
It is because of Diamond Head. But
what's funny now is Diamond Head was the heart and soul of our town government,
Yes.
of meetings.
Imagine if they weren't there. Yeah.
I agree. They're a good.
And now look what these guys went through here.
Yeah.
Where are we having the show? We're having it here.
Yeah.
So
So
I know
what's
you're
your
gonna ask. So London Bay
Outrigger?
is a lot tougher for me than Seagate. I got to see what the public benefit's going to be. Now, height wise, I'm okay with the height there. I'm not so sure about the density. It's a question. What's the public benefit? And I think, they've got that property across the street. That could be one of their poker chips.
I really think people should take a ride to Clearwater Beach. It's not that far. And when you go to Clearwater Beach and you look at their beach and you see all the high rises on the beach, that's what this is going to look like if we continue to allow that kind of height. When you come over the bridge, you can see the beach over Margaritaville. You can see the beach over everything. You can't see the beach over Diamond Head. And it's only, again, it's 13 stories. We're going to put, with Seagate now, 2 17 stories in the middle of the island. Now we're talking about another 17 story at the end of the island where there's already tall buildings. I get that. Where does it end? When do we say?
Okay, Greg, let me
enough?
address that. But there's really
I
only
think people should drive down to Cerro Boulevard and look at all the empty lots right now.
the other.
But it's so looking at the beach is bad right now. Like being able to
No,
drive
it's
down
not,
the road and see the
but,
beach is bad.
Greg, we're rebuilding.
And
and
we're
I
going to
think
continue the
and I
rebuild. This
think-
isn't a 2-year project. This isn't a 5-year project. We're going to be rebuilding for a very long time.
Right.
And-
So that's
but-
one of the questions I asked you.
but
How
why-
many years are you looking at we're going to look like
I'm here
Clearwater
for the
Beach?
long haul. I'm leaving my house to my son. I want this to be a place where he can grow up and have his family here. And
But-
if we push the gas,
I've got 8 grandkids. I want this place to be nice, and we should not apologize for wanting nice stuff.
So I'm gonna have you removed from the restaurant. I'm just kidding. I love Robin. No, so Greg, my question to you is, you have the Outrigger and you have Seagate. What do we have? We have like 5 developments, and then after that, you really just have houses. How much property is there that's going to be built up to the height? When I did my walk around this morning, I was counting stories down there. There's pretty high buildings on the south end. So maybe the south end is okay to have a 17-story building or
For
no?
me personally, no. I
Why?
don't think
Why?
it is.
Why is that? Why?
'Cause
Why
we
do you
ha-
think
have
that
you-
impacts
have-
families?
I get it. Well, because it does. You think
How?
families are going to live in there?
No. How
No,
does
they're
it
not.
impact families?
I think by allowing
Negatively.
negatively because
Negatively.
who bears the burden of overdensity and overintensity? Families that live here. When you have to battle traffic, when you have to battle for when prices are high and everything's here, the Publix here is already probably $1 more for everything, maybe more than anywhere else here. I mean, that's the price you pay living island. That's just going to continue to happen. It's just, and it's going to come to the point where no one wants to live here. It's just going to be
Greg,
a transient
Greg.
destination.
I will never believe the bullshit story that nobody wants to live on the beach.
And
I'm
everybody-
sorry,
exactly,
but I've
but I
heard
will
that
not
threat
believe-
before. But that's crap,
Right. And I don't
Because-
believe the bullshit story that we have to allow over density and over height or
Different-
no one's
okay,
going to build
all right.
here because that's just legislating out of fear.
But we're
And we
talking
should
about two.
legislate
But
out
Greg,
of
we're talking
faith.
about two different things here. You're saying people are not going to want to live here. Somebody is always going to want to live on a beach. That's just reality. It
I
might not
want this
be
to
the
be a
same
place
level
where
of people.
families live on the beach, Ed.
Oh, okay.
Not just anybody, not just people who are here half the time in condos.
Okay,
Not that
but
there's no one
okay.
living in condos.
I don't want to.
but
I
again,
know this
want
isn't a debate
families
between
on the
me and you,
island.
but my point is, you can drive a slow tractor up the island right now and not face traffic. We're really talking about a small amount of time during season where traffic sucks.
Well, it's
right?
not a small amount of time. It's
It's
probably
it's not 9 months.
5 months.
It's okay, 5 months,
Yeah, it's 5 months.
6 at the most.
Maybe okay. Even I'll just say 5.
And right
I'll take
now-
the lesser of it.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not debating you, but go
Yes,
ahead.
you
Go
are.
ahead. I just don't buy the fact that people aren't going to move to the island. Everybody wants to live on a beach. I want to live on the beach, but I'm poor.
When you're not that poor, but when it's not a place that you
Somebody
can
buy
get
me
anywhere,
a house. Oh, look who's here. You could buy me a house.
when it's not a place where you can get
I've
anywhere,
seen your Ferrari. Go ahead.
when it's not a place that you can get anywhere, when it's not a place that families can afford, families won't live on the island. And this island was built with families. It's why we have a beach school. It's why we have a Bay Oaks. It's why we have those sorts of things are for families on the island. And I'm telling you, no family's going to want to live on the island when it's overdeveloped.
Scott?
I think that overdevelopment is we're so much closer to Beirut than Clearwater Beach right now. We've got to build this place back. So I think with London Bay, I think we need to hear what the South End wants. It's that I wouldn't want it right here, but I think it may be the right fit for down there. But we'll see. Again, I got to see what the staff says. I got to see what the LPA says.
Now I'm going to get on your case a little bit because one of the things.
You can get on my case.
One of the things I've heard. I think I've heard you say this, but if not, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If we don't build back now, like if we don't build back fast, people are just going to stop coming. And that's crap too, man. People want to come to
I
this
am not
beach.
going to apologize for wanting stuff back now.
Okay, but
Ed, we don't have
do you
the goods
agree-
and services.
But do you
right
agree
now.
with me that people are always going to come to this beach?
People are always going to
Okay.
come to this beach.
So you don't believe that
But
if you
I
don't
want good stuff. I don't know why I should apologize for wanting the whale built back. I don't know why I should apologize for wanting the cottage built back, the beach bar built back. I want it built back now. I wish I could go over and
Nobody
have a beer at his place tomorrow.
But I don't think anyone's criticized you for that.
No,
Nobody's criticized anybody for that. We want them to come back.
I know.
fast.
So we want stuff built back, and we should not apologize for it.
All right, we're moving on. Neptune. Neptune has got a proposal. I don't know what the hell the Neptune is doing, to be honest with you. I mean, they haven't knocked down that building. It's an eyesore. And they've proposed something with a restaurant. I mean, what? Yes or no on the? You're up. Next, Neptune. I'm not gonna press you on that one.
I think they were what four stories above parking.
Yeah.
I mean,
with a restaurant on the beach.
I can't even remember what their density was, but yeah, so far so good. I mean, it looks good to me. We got to see what the public benefit is there, right?
I haven't seen. I only seen
right.
renderings of the Neptune. So
By the
I
way,
don't know the details.
while we have you here, why isn't the library open?
Elevator. It's
Elevator.
literally
Everybody
100%
needs an elevator.
We can't. The library can't open due to ADA requirements for the elevator. They had prior to my time, they had a custom cab built for the elevator.
Oh.
That seems no one can manufacture. We even tried to get welders to come in and weld a cab in there to make it safe, and they wouldn't fly. So it's getting close. Like the meeting prior to, I recommended that we get legal counsel involved against the elevator manufacturer because it's they've already paid again
So-
prior to me. But
So let me ask you this question. Do you think Fort Myers Beach needs a Taj Mahal library?
it has nothing to do with the town.
But you can't answer the question because
But
it's
it
on
has
your
nothing to do
tax
with the
bill.
town.
It's
I
on your
agree,
tax
but
bill.
it's on a lot of more people's tax bill. The library is there. I can't do anything about it. So what do you turn it into? I use the library. I personally use the library every chance I get. I'm part of a family. I'm a family man. Families use the library.
Yeah.
We use the library. We still use the library to this day.
That library is way too big for this island, and nobody's honest about it. Nobody.
Again, but what
Nobody
do you-
wants to
but
be
what-
honest
what-
about
So
it.
what do you do with it? Do we procure another building?
I don't know what you do with it, but why
Right,
are you
so-
taxing
so-
the people on the library that nobody uses?
That's not true.
That's besides the point.
No,
Well,
no.
I've got a
People
library
use
card.
the library.
Raise your hand if you use the library on a regular basis. All right, I take it back. 6 people here. I don't want to take your library away. Wait, you want to? Did you want to ask a question? I can't hear you from there. Oh, okay, gotcha. You want to say anything about the library?
I love the library. I just hope it gets open sooner rather
2
than later.
years. 2 years later.
Sooner rather than later.
Right. Go get them an elevator, Scott. You got some jack around here.
I want it open sooner rather than later.
So
I
let-
use it.
There's not one person on the library board that does not want it open. Trust me.
So
Yeah.
it's a microcosm of the beach.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later.
So I know, really.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, they can at least pull the weeds.
Well, what they're trying to do is get and again, I don't think I don't complain about that every meeting because I do, because I think it should look nice. They're trying to get the garden club to come and replant native plants. I get behind that, but it does need to be cleaned up.
Yeah, I'm taking all kinds of shit in the chat box about the library. I apologize. It's
Can you
just
say shit? This is
yeah,
a
I
family
can.
friendly show.
I don't see any kids
Yeah, with
around.
Cheech and Chong behind us.
Yeah. So I take everything back about the library because we do.
No, but you should ask. I mean, there's nothing wrong if you're in the taxing districts for the library, you should be vocal. You know how many people we've had come for public comment on the library? 2. You know
Right.
who they were? News reporters.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know when the library is open. Just like if again, I have an open door policy. If you have concerns about the library, come. I mean,
Yeah.
Everybody should question every single thing on their tax bill.
I agree.
Library, fire department, the town, everybody should question everything on their tax bill.
So let's talk about taxes. I know Robin's like, raise my taxes. I want higher taxes. It is true, Robin. And so here's the thing that I want everybody to do that loves higher taxes. If the town council decides not to raise taxes in September, you should calculate how much your higher taxes would have been from 0.99 to 103 and just write a check to the town of Fort Myers Beach and bring it. Just
I'm not
bring
sure
it
they
to
can
town
legally
hall.
accept it, to be honest, but
Why not? Why not? I mean, I'm sure Randy will figure out a way to take the money. He's good at that. I mean, so
they should just donate it to like the Beach Kids Foundation.
so let me
first
give
of all,
some
we
background. Let me give
didn't-
some background.
Okay, yeah.
The background is the tax rate is very low on Fort Myers Beach. And there's nothing to be ashamed of to have low taxes. It's 0.99 per $1,000 of assessed property value. I think the fire department is like $2 or $3. It's way higher. The library is lower. It's not a high tax rate, but when you add it all up and you put it on top of assessments and you put it on top of higher insurance, every dollar counts for a taxpayer. And so the proposed rate for next year is $1.03. So they may go from 0.99 to 103. They may not. They can come down, but they can't go higher to $1.03. Scott voted for the higher rate, and now I'll let you talk about what you think about the tax rate on Fort Myers Beach.
So I gave us options. If we wouldn't have raised the tax rate, we would not have had options. I never played poker not having to go all in every hand. So now we have some options. We have 2 months to talk about it. I mean, it's 3 things got to happen. Either we got to have higher taxes, increase revenue, or we got to cut expenses. I've got some proposals to increase the revenue side, but 4 points on $1 million house is $40. And I'm on the audit committee. Guys, we were terribly, terribly underinsured. We got $2.4 million for that building with its contents. I mean, woefully underinsured. So we're coming out of the gate way behind. Our reserves are 1.6 million from what our finance director thinks it should be. I actually think our reserves should be 5 million. I mean, if we look at that storm that happened a couple Thursdays ago with just the rain, It was a mess. Can you imagine if there would have been storm surge? I mean, if we get hit by a storm, even a heavy tropical storm with a little bit of surge and a lot of rain, we're in trouble. I mean, we only have $1.6 million in reserves right now.
Right.
And it's unfortunate. And just like I told my grandkids, hey, I'm sorry, we can't go to Disney World this year. Papa Scott doesn't have the money. And
Well,
the
that
state
was
of-
that was a
but-
very sad statement to throw in there.
But honestly,
I can loan you the money for Disney. I love Disney.
The state of Florida requires us to have a balanced
So
budget.
so here's, I know you're going to say there's not enough time, but here's the thing that bugs me about government. You have an empty lot that's worth, let's on the low side say $10 million. But you guys want to hold on to that empty lot because you think it'll be worth $15 million. I don't think that you have the right to hold on to that lot when you don't have enough money in your reserve account. You need to put that lot for sale, and that money needs to go in the reserve lot so you don't raise taxes. You should lower taxes on people. But that's, I mean, I don't know shit about shit, so I'm just throwing that out there. I just don't think you have a right to own that property if you have a problem.
I think what we should do with that property is make some money off it. Turn it into a parking lot, do a backyard
Okay, turn it into a
social.
parking lot and compete with businesses on the island, right?
The town
You're
has
a
tons of parking
government,
spots.
but you're a government. You're not a business.
We need revenue, Ed.
You don't need revenue. You need
We
to sell
don't?
that property and put it in the reserve account.
I don't need to do anything, but
Well,
we're
but-
going to put up.
right, you don't need to do anything.
Are we going to put a sign up? Motivated seller.
No, put a sign up. Look at that piece of property. It's right on Estero Boulevard.
an
It's
asset.
prime. Okay, but you don't have a right to have
But
an asset when you're at a
We-
deficit.
We might be able to horse trade that property down the road. It's going to be worth more
Okay,
down the
but
road.
you don't deserve to own the property
you
down the
can't-
road.
you
You're
can't-
in a hole.
you can't
You're in a
do-
hole. You're a government in a hole.
You cannot run a budget. You cannot run a budget and have a line item property for sale.
Well, you don't.
You can't.
You're going to put some. Well, okay.
It's
I'll address
against
that.
every gap standard in
Okay,
the world.
but the property taxes have gone up 50%. So you're going to put some money in those reserve accounts, and not as
That's
much as
correct.
you want to.
No, not as much.
So
as I
let's
want
say you put that money into the account, the reserve account, from the increase in the property values, and you put the property for sale. As soon as that property sells, you're done for the next 5 years. That's what I don't get about the government. You don't deserve to own that property right now because you're in a deficit. But you want to use it for a rainy day. You shouldn't. And Roger should have never bought that piece of shit property back in the back there that you park trucks on, for crying out loud. That was a complete waste of the town's money. I mean, I'm just, like I said, I don't know anything.
I think we definitely have to have a conversation about it for sure.
No,
Go
so,
ahead,
yeah,
sorry.
So again,
I'm gonna shut my own
you
microphone
should.
off.
I mean, I just let you talk and go.
And to be unfair, I had that conversation with Dan last weekend, and it was the same
it's
thing.
a conversation we should have, right? So, and it just, again, it comes to about thought of leadership. So I own a company. My company is funded by investors, right? So my investors have given me money to do my company and raise the value of my company and those sorts of things. But I only have so much money, and my staff has to make it work with what we have. The problem with government is they can always go back to the till. You can, if you say, okay, we're just gonna cap it. We can't go any higher than 1.03. What happens next year? They can always go back to the till, the taxpayers. What you need to do is you need to say, no, I'm not going to raise it. I would not have voted to raise the maximum millage rate. I would have voted to keep it the same. We should be working every year to get back to the rollback rate if possible. And that's just what we should have. You need to embolden your staff to make the decisions, to make the cuts that have to happen to work within the budget. Not say, oh, if this happens, I don't, and I'm just saying my personal philosophy is I don't manage out of fear. I manage out of expectations and outcomes. I have a certain expectation of my staff to do the things they need to do with the budget that we set them, and the town should be no different. This is what our budget is. We're not going over this. We need to figure it out and figure out where those cuts have to come from. It's so easy to go back to the taxpayers and say, give me more. And as soon as they do that, it will never go down.
You see, I need to address Rebecca Link, who I love, is watching. And Rebecca, you have one fan in the audience. So
I love Rebecca.
Yes,
I'm a big fan.
She's done a lot for folks on the beach too. But she asks me if I would sell one of my cars now, if I could get triple for it in a year. If I couldn't pay my insurance bill, I would sell my car. That's the point I'm trying to make. The town and I apologize if it comes across like I'm picking on Scott, but I just think that, yeah, I agree. The town needs to be prepared for the next storm, and they need whatever, $3 million in the fund. But the other point that I made on one of my newsletters was the town is different now. I think they understand how to deal with the storm better. Like the jabronis that we had running the town back when the storm hit couldn't figure out how to tie their shoelaces back then. And so they spent $3 million out of the gate. And then now
that's what they left us. We're
I know
millions of dollars in the hole.
But,
And the other thing you got to remember is if we have another storm, FEMA paid for everything. Next time, we're going to have to pay 12.5% of that. Right now, we have 27 FEMA projects at close to $20 million.
Wait, back up a little. You FEMA paid for things when a storm. You don't think they're going to pay for things if another
next
storm
storm,
comes
it could
through?
be at 12.5%.
Where did
the
that
finance
percent-
director told us that.
Where did I miss that? Like if a storm comes through, you don't think that the state and FEMA would come through and help again?
Well, you hope. But
Yeah.
I also think our mayor had a great point. I mean, he's out hustling money all over the place.
Yeah.
And by not raising taxes a little bit, it looks like we want a hammock, not a.
I know it's a
Not a
little bit,
trampoline.
and I know I'm being petty about the taxes, but if you all want to pay more taxes, go right ahead.
Again,
Listen, I'm
Ed,
rebuilding
go
a house.
right
I
ahead.
don't want to pay any more taxes than I have to.
I mean, I don't.
Right.
But we may have.
But I'm going to. Like, there's no. When
You are
people
going to.
I am.
Everybody is.
Who's rebuilding, their houses are bigger. Especially if you're rebuilding a beach cottage, doesn't make any sense to rebuild a beach cottage, right? Everybody's houses are bigger. Everybody's houses are worth more. Everybody's going to be paying more money in taxes. So to say that we're going to,
Here's
raise
what
the millage rate
the mayor
doesn't make
says.
sense
The
to
mayor
me.
said last week, and he thinks he found the town manager and the staff might have found something in maybe the community policing to cut that for the next year.
I did it,
Yeah.
so we'll have options.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's no
it's-
harm in.
My mom's rolling over in grave just me even thinking about raising taxes. I mean, come
Are
on.
you, yeah,
But
well,
don't you? But again, what I want to say is, don't you think that sets a tone? Doesn't that set a tone to the families and the residents here on the island that, hey, we're definitely willing to raise taxes by not holding our town's feet to the fire and saying, no, we're at 0.99, we're going to stay at 0.99, and we're going to figure out how to do that by even giving yourself the lee room to say, well, we can go up to 1.03. That doesn't set a tone with people. To me, that sets a tone to me that says our council's willing to raise taxes and not willing to do the hard work
I'm
of
willing to
looking
look at
at
all
expenses.
Our budget's $2 million less than it was in fiscal year 22.
But that's not going to be next year. Our
Good.
property
Our-
property values just went up close to 50%. That's not going to be the same next year.
it's going to go up, and it is going to go up more, according
And we'll
to.
be collecting more tax.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's the
it's-
goal. Is again, we don't want to raise
Is
taxes.
Fort Myers Beach still government light in your opinion, or not? Should they get over that?
I think it's a whole different mindset there right now. I mean, we've got a finance director, we have an HR person. I think the whole tone has changed. I mean, I think those guys are doing a fantastic
Oh,
job.
yeah.
We got a good team.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Can you guys turn that speaker just a little bit that way to avoid? I don't know why we're getting feedback of us. Yeah, toward you guys. I apologize if you can't hear it, but the feedback is brutal. It's mostly my microphone. All right. So the other development that we didn't talk about was the Arches. Ben came in with, I think, 3 hotels and 7 million hotel rooms, or some crazy amount. But I'm just kidding. It's not that many, but it was a lot. And I don't. The LPA, even though they didn't vote on that, kind of shot it down. They voted that down on approving the zone change. What do you think?
Well, I told Ben to his face, I thought it was too many rooms. I thought it was too dense. I wanted to see its traffic study. I didn't see it. I wasn't willing to change the future land use map over something I didn't know exactly what we were going to get. I think they need to go back to the drawing board.
I obviously didn't support what 3 hotels and extreme height and extreme density that he wanted to do. I think something can be done down there. I love marinas. I'm a boat guy. If you look at Key West and in the marinas they have downtown, having something like that down there would be excellent for our town. Working, marinas are an attractant for people, and I'd love to see that stay there. I understand he has a property the way it's zoned, he's
Yeah.
got a marina. So I think we should have to fight to keep some of those marinas on the island.
I totally concur with Greg. I think at any marina, any town you go to, first world, second world, third world country, the nicest place is the marina. They've got a nice little, it's nice. Nice boats.
Have you really been to a marina in a third world country?
I have.
Really?
I lived in Ecuador.
Wow. I didn't know you were a traveling man like that. So Scott had quite a fundraising day or week last week or whatever it was, raised $18,000 or got the total up to $18,000, which is now put you second behind Vice Mayor Where's all Adderholt's money coming from? Jeepers creepers. How do you get 20,000 right off the shot there? So you have 18,000. You got 1,000 from London Bay. You got some money from an employee of Seagate. Do you think, and some money from the neighborhood company, do you think that when those projects come before you, you should recuse yourself because they've given you money and they're just to totally avoid any perception of conflict?
That's going to be for the town attorney to decide. When we have ex parte communication, I'm going to say that they donate money to my campaign. I'm not hiding it.
But how do you feel about that? What's your gut feeling about it?
I talked to Adderholt the other day and about how he raised his money, and there was some questionable people donating to him. And he said, "Scott, times are tough. I need the money to run a campaign correctly, so I'm not going to apologize." Yeah, I certainly did. My family, my dad was in the construction business. My grandfather was. I get developers. I get it. So I'm still going to be unbiased. I'm going to fight hard for public benefit on all their projects.
Fair enough.
Unbiased. Yep, trust me.
Greg, you don't really have any money, so I can't ask you the same question. But feel free to
work out. But I just
what do you have? Like $1,000?
No, thanks. No, I don't
know.
Now, probably a little over 3,200 something. Yeah, but it's. Again, I'm a fiscal conservative. I don't need an overabundance of money to run a campaign. I'm not going to take money from developers. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I will not. I'm not taking developers' money from plant or anything like that. I'm a family guy. I'm here to run for families. I'll take money from families on the island, people who believe like I believe, but I'm just not going to do it. I'm not afraid to put in the work and put the sweat equity in to make it happen. So,
any follow up on that, or just all right?
I'm not saying anything wrong. My personal belief is, with what I'm running on, I don't feel it's appropriate to take money from people who are trying to develop the island that I'm not for. So, what do you? I've had a hard time trying to figure out when you guys talk to residents and voters on Fort Myers Beach. Do you get the sense that the majority of people want to build fast? Do you get the majority of people want to build low? Do you get the sense that the majority of people want to go slow? What is, Greg, you first. When you talk to people, I mean, I can't figure it out. So I can, because that's the reason I'm running. I put my opinions out there very early on. I have friends who are developers. I have friends who are planners. They think differently than me. Doesn't mean I dislike them. We're still friends. But the majority of the people I talk to believe like I believe. They want to see the island stay a place for families and neighbors and the community that we have. That's why I'm running. If we hit the gas to go fast, if we allow all these exceptions to our land development code and comp plan, we allow all this extra height and all this extra density, we're going to lose that community, and that's what makes this place special. And I'm not going to sit idly by and let that happen, period.
So let me just ask you this. I get a sense that there's a group of people on the island that would just as soon this thing go as slow as possible, because now with all the empty lots, they get these views, and they want those views, and they want less people, and they want to live on the island in their house, and they want to live on the island on their street, and they don't. And I kind of feel like you give me that vibe sometimes.
Well, yeah. I mean, I moved here. I live here full time. I don't have any other houses. This is where I live. This is where my family resides. This is my home. And I'm fighting to keep that home a place where other beach families, and I'm not the only one. Now, I'm not the only beach family here. There are a lot of kids on this island. There's still a lot of beach families here.
Well, there aren't a lot of kids on the island, but there are some.
There are still.
How many kids are in the beach school right now?
My son is homeschooled, so I don't know.
Okay.
But we have 3,500 registered voters here on the island. We still have it. And all those, even if you're a single person, you're still a family. You're still part of this community. We're going to lose that. If we go fast and we push the gas and we do not pay attention to why we were founded, we are going to lose that. You think we're not? I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
I don't believe for a second that people would never come back to this beach. I haven't been here as long as you guys have, but people will wait in that effing line to Walmart to come on this beach.
Vacation rentals and condo rentals and
Which
hotels.
is what it was.
That's
which is really what it
will
was.
be the entire island. We will not have the community.
But the homes are being built back faster than anything else. The homes are right now back.
Agreed.
homes.
And
Yeah.
but
What?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys made the rules. I didn't. The rules are the rules. You're allowed to have vacation rentals on basically every street on this island. And that's what's part of incorporation. So, I mean, let's not make it sound like the rules have changed since the storm, but that is the way it was.
But we as leaders of the town
Yeah.
can direct the future of the island.
Yeah.
And so do we want it the island? Again, and it's a simple question people want to vote. Do you want the island to be, again, transients in tourists all the time and vacation rentals, or do you want to have families on the island?
dude, come on.
simple
Admit it.
question.
It's a tourist island.
Okay, so no one votes, Ed. So
No,
right,
no,
that's it.
I'm
So
saying, no, I'm not.
we don't
But it
have any
really is
residents on the
primarily a
island?
tourist island. Don't you agree?
But
primarily.
do we not have a community on this island?
Yeah, you do.
We
but
have a
it's-
tremendous community on this island.
Yeah.
People have come together
sure.
after the storm. I've lived in every place here in Southwest Florida: Naples, Estero, Cape Coral. There is no place like
back
this
to my
place.
question: What do you think the majority of people want to go slow, or the majority of people want to put the foot on the gas?
I think a majority of the people want to go slow, take
Okay.
their time, and do it right.
Greg or Scott, sorry.
I want to do it right, but faster than that.
Do you think it's primarily?
I love and I'm a family first guy. That's part of our business motto, right? But we're a community. There's 3,250 voters, but he has 92,000 or 93,250 followers. I mean, it's not just the residents. I have neighbors who live here for 4 months out of there. They're just as important as me. I have another neighbor that lives here for 6 months. He's just as important to me. The business owners are just as important. It's a community. It's a combination of tourism, residents, part-time residents, full-time residents, and businesses. We're a community. We're a ship. We just can't single out and just do something for just one thing. It's got to be a community effort. So I think most of the people want to build back. We want goods and services on the island. I mean, we've got to get stuff going. My motto is let's go. I mean, we're building back a bigger, better pier.
Yeah, the year 2030, when they'll be throwing my ashes out
Right,
across
so
the pier.
that's a long time, right?
There, yeah. That's a county
There we
thing.
go,
I
too
mean,
long.
listen, if the town was building that,
That's how I feel about this
be
whole
up
line.
already.
It's too long.
so
Thank God this place is here.
yeah, no kidding. Can you imagine if Margaritaville wasn't built the time that storm hit? So
They shouldn't have gone through what they went through.
They went through hell, and
It's just a shame.
so does anybody in the audience have any questions? All right. The last question, Scott, you first. Why should people vote for you in November?
Well, I think it's a total body of work. I mean, I've been on the island for 17 years. My wife and I took literally a crack house on the worst street on the island and redeveloped it, made it something nice. We own commercial property, we own residential property. I'm rebuilding. I get it from all sides. I understand what people are going through, and the job's not finished yet. I mean, I'll do the best I can to represent you and to come to the right answer. So I hope for your support.
Good answer. All right, Greg. Why should people vote for you?
I'm not a politician. I'm a family man. I have no ulterior motives. I don't own a business on the island. I don't make a living from the island. The only reason I'm doing this is for the families of FMB. That's it. I'm doing this for my friends, my neighbors, the families. I want to keep FMB a place where people who can have the same dream that I had, was coming here on vacation, seeing it and say, you know what, I can live here. It's attainable for me to live here. I can have the quality over quantity that I want to raise my family in. And so if you want the same things, that's why you should vote for me, because I promise that's what I will work tirelessly to make happen.
I want I want to thank both of our guests for not mumbling at all for the entire hour that they were here. It wasn't 22 minutes. It was an entire hour. Thank you guys very much for coming on, and good luck in November. We'll see you soon. Greg and Scott, everybody, thank you very much. And I hope we're still friends after this. Ladies and gentlemen, Jorge Barrera is somewhere in the house, and there he is right there. Raise your hand, Jorge. Yeah, he's an all-time favorite, and he is a sponsor of the show. And we want to make sure that you know that you can go and check out Jorge's website, jorgeswflrealtor.com, and you can keep track of all the market activity. You can call him right now. He's got his cell phone sitting in his back pocket in his beach shorts at 239-791-9893. He knows everything about the real estate market. If you want to buy or sell property on the beach, if you want to bring your family down, call Jorge Barrera, everybody, 239-791-9893. Big fan favorite here. Yeah. Also, Power Block Builders, if you're considering rebuilding your home on that sweet piece of land you have somewhere on this beach, you want to give Power Block Builders a call. They have over 35 years of structural experience. Yes, okay, Debbie, she misses Kim. Kim is in Utah, by the way, everybody. She's with her mommy and her aunt. They have a nice house on the mountain in, I think it's Salt Lake City. So she'll be sending pictures of the second leg of her vacation. And I'll be home with the bulldog, giving the dog medicine every 12 hours so she doesn't have seizures. I bet you thought I lost my place. Power Block Builders has over 35 years of structural experience and completely local. They support the rebuilding of Fort Myers. Give Power Block Builders a call, 239-849-1919, 239-849-1919. And lastly, Michael Stewart, P.E. Michael was a sponsor of the walk around this morning, which we started at Santini Plaza. And I don't know, I don't really see anything happening at Santini Plaza. Every time I go there, it looks exactly the same to me. All the windows are blocked off and all the drywall is just sitting on the sidewalk. But sooner or later, they're going to open something over there. Probably a liquor store, and Scott will be really happy. All right, Michael Stewart, local company, owned and born and raised right here in Lee County. He's got some superior knowledge. He's very dependable. You can trust that when you call, he'll answer the phone. That's what you want, somebody to answer the phone. I call Facebook all the time to try and get those fake book pages blocked, but they never answer the phone. So call Michael Stewart at 239-292-7670. 239-292-7670. Thank you all for tuning in. We had a nice big audience today. Thank you all for coming to La Di Da. And we'll see you tomorrow at Wahoo Willie's. Bye-bye.